I do think that to a certain extent, it's like saying to somebody, oh, okay, you want to be an Olympic athlete? All right. How much do you want to train? How much sacrifice are you going to make? How much are you going to change your diet, your physical routine, your sleep schedule, right? How much of your life are you going to give to pursuing this goal? And if people go, well, I can train, like I'll take a, workshop a couple of times a year. I watch movies. Then you go, I don't know. I don't know if you're going to be able to compete with the people who are really, really serious about it. For the most part, again, some people kind of dance through those raindrops and squeeze through the cracks and end up with some kind of career. But I think a lot of them live in fear of being exposed, that somebody's going to find out they don't really know what they're doing. So, why not prepare yourself to the best of your ability and keep building your muscles for your whole career? I have students at Haven who have been coming to the studio for 20 years. And I can say, I'll say studying with me for 20 years. And there is an element of study and learning and training. Of course, we're always all learning. I learn as much from them as they learn from me, and how they interpret the material, the plays. But after a while, training isn't always about learning, is it? It's about building muscle, and it's just about getting, into the flow of what you do so you don't have to think about it, right? Yeah. So yeah, can't underestimate the importance of training and building a strong foundation enough, from my personal experience and from seeing the many students I've had who go on to successful careers. They're all the hardest workers.
Talent Talk is sponsored by Company of Rogues Actors Studio, New York-style training for actors at all stages of their journey. With our part-time classes and full-time masterclass program, Rogues provides a unique post-secondary option under the guidance of working professionals. Mentoring and developing professional film and theater artists since 1993, Calgary's longest-running independent studio offers practical hands-on classes in a positive, supportive environment. Check us out at corogues.com. Company of Rogues, passionate about the art of acting.
Hey everybody, I'm Gary McLean, and you are watching Talent Talk. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't done so already, please do go to the Talent Talk YouTube channel and subscribe today. As always, the support's appreciated. And also just give you a reminder that this and previous episodes are going to be available on podcast mediums. Basically anything you listen to, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, just to name a few. Whatever you're listening to is probably there. Check it out. Finally, just want to give a quick shout out to the sponsors that we have for this season, which is it's our first season out of 5 seasons that we've actually been able to bring on some sponsors. So I'm super excited about that. First, I'd like to start off with thanking Company of Rogues, which is a local Calgary acting studio here. And then we have RJ Talent, which is a local agency for actors. And then we have 6 Degrees. Sound and Music, which actually usually does our in-house, like in studio, in-person interviews. In this case, this is not one of them, but they're on board for every episode. So thank you guys for helping out this season. Appreciate that. We have Workflow Film, which actually also does our filming for the in-studio, in-person sessions. So thank you to Workflow Film. We have Herd of One Media. We have Counting Coup Indigenous, I'm going to get this right, Film Academy. There we go. Counting Coup, Indigenous Film Academy. Thank you to them. And finally, we have ACTRA Alberta. So thank you for all those folks for helping out this season. Definitely appreciate it. Now, today's guest. He has more than 100 IMDb credits as an actor and has also delved into writing and directing. He's a multiple award winner, including the John Juliani Award for Outstanding Achievement in 2013. He is the founder and director of Haven Acting School in Vancouver, which has been around since 2002. He's taught and mentored many actors that have gone on to do great things. And I may even ask him, if there's any chance for me to get involved with that too, because I need all the help I can get. So we'll see about that. Finally, his most recent project sees his newest feature film, Have Hope, Yo!, in post-production for a release date later this year. So please welcome me and joining Emmanuel, Ben Immanuel, to the show.
Hello.
Hi, Ben. How you doing?
Good to see you. Thanks for having me on the show.
Likewise, for sure. And you're in Vancouver right now, right?
I
Enjoying
am,
the weather.
yes. It
It's
is.
not raining right now, from what I hear.
Not at the moment. No, we got a little nice little patch of sunny skies, so everybody's out doing the limbo.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's as it should be. Yes.
yeah,
So if you don't mind, wouldn't mind just kind of getting into a little bit of your history, how you kind of got started in this industry to
sure.
begin with. Is this something you've always kind of wanted to do since you were a kid, or when did this all begin for you?
Well, I think that for most of us who are in this profession in one form or another, as certainly as performers, it does start early. I think it starts in the home for most of us. You know, we kind of play a role in the home where we're entertaining people or trying to get attention. You know, everybody's sort of motivated by some kind of family dynamic, I think. Sometimes it's just as simple as putting on a show for people and seeing that everybody's having fun, and it can be really kind of, you know, upbeat like that. And for some people, it's more complex, and it's sort of, you might be in a home environment where things are a little askew, and you find that if you can put people's attention on you, everybody gets a little bit happier, or everybody just gets a little bit, you know, brings people together. So I think it starts in the home. You know, as an actor myself for a long time and having been an acting teacher since 1995, most people's stories seem to start with a family dynamic. And then after that, you know, that's a whole other story, right? About how we get started as performers. I started, I guess the first thing I ever did as a performer were like little plays in school, stuff like that. I had some good teachers. I had a great teacher named Mrs. Hooper in the early years, grades 1 and 2 and 3. And she used to put on shows. And she took it very seriously. And she was very diligent about the shows she put on. So I do remember playing Baby Bear in grade 1 in a production of, you know, the Three Bears. And
Right.
I
Yeah.
remember playing an elf in a Christmas play. And my line is a line that I'm still sometimes haunted by. I'm going, how do I make this line work? I had to say, I have the grandest prize of all, a great big pie. Let's all have a piece right now. And that's a tough line, you know, for a 6-year-old kid to say grandest.
Yeah.
It
Absolutely.
didn't feel realistic, but you know, sometimes you got to suck it up as an actor and just commit to saying the line. So as I recall, that's what I did. Yeah.
And I'm sure it went off without a hitch. So at the
You
end of the
know,
day,
actually, Gary, the show was a disaster, and
what's it?
it all fell apart. And Mrs. Hooper, bless her, had the kids stay in the gym where we put on the show, and she sent the parents to the other space to have coffee and talk, and she made the kids do the whole show again.
Oh
And she
wow.
stood, and I remember her intensity. She stood very focused and watched us and made sure we got it right. So she was a great early influence. Yeah, I've met some really great young teachers, and I think I might have seen a few who shouldn't have been there yet. I know when I started teaching, I'd been acting for about 5 years professionally.
Okay.
And a woman named Ivana Chubbuck, who was a brilliant teacher based out of Los Angeles, who I studied with a lot. And she got me started. She asked me to teach class for her. And I was pretty nervous because I thought, why is anybody going to want to listen to me? They want Ivana. But, you know, she wanted somebody teaching in Vancouver, well, when she wasn't here because she's based in LA. And that was the beginning of teaching for me. And, you know, I remember just kind of having a knack for communicating with people and for being, you know, connecting with people in a creative environment, but also, you know, being very aware that the best thing, the most important thing a teacher can do, aside from have good instincts about what each individual person needs, is you have to know the material.
Right.
And especially if you're teaching plays. And if you don't know the play, you don't understand, you know, the time and the place and everything about the play, you're kind of full of crap because you're just kind of swinging in the dark, right? So
Right.
if a young teacher knows the play and is able to communicate with people effectively, probably pretty good.
Okay.
Mhm.
This is a really good tie-in actually to Haven uh, Haven Acting School,
Mhm.
because how long have you actually been doing that?
I started my studio, Haven Acting Studio, in 2002, just
2002. Okay.
between 2002 2003. So we recently celebrated 2 decades, 20th anniversary.
Okay. And do you focus mainly on theater, or do you focus on film as well, or both? Or
We do. I focus on plays. It's been said that great plays make great actors. So you can teach people basic skills doing material that's not as layered and strong and nuanced. But if people really want to learn to do this, they have to do great material, because the writers give the actors so much to do. Having said that, people need to learn how to work on the stuff that they're probably going to be pursuing for the most part and making their living at, hopefully, which is film and TV. So I teach scene study classes, which are plays, and Nelson Wong teaches on camera auditioning, and Nelson uses scenes from contemporary film and television, mostly television. And Jill Morrison teaches at the studio, and she does plays. If a movie or a TV show has a brilliant scene, which there's so much great TV now. So many of these great playwrights are now writing for television. If you can find great scenes, good. But what we really hope is that people understand the material and they're not just kind of trying to make up, the given circumstances on the spot. You should know what you're talking about.
when I talk to some actors, right? Some
Hmm.
actors like, I've never done theater. I don't want to do theater. I don't like
Yeah.
theater, right?
Hmm.
And then of course you get those others. They're like, oh, I started in theater. I love
Yeah.
theater. This is where I learned everything, and I've been able to transfer that to film.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of curious what your opinion of that is.
Well, I think that if you can do theater, it's easier to transition into film and TV because hopefully you've built a solid foundation with your instrument, right? For example, the teacher Patsy Rodenberg, she will talk about once you're on your breath, on your voice, in your body, then you can rehearse. And until then, Patsy won't even do text. She won't even start rehearsing until an actor is functioning, right? Until you can be heard, until you can, yes, project, but not project in 1,000-seat theater. Project just even in a room, even for me to have this conversation with you and to reach the computer clearly. So
Right.
having a good foundation, it ain't gonna hurt.
Yeah.
It's certainly not gonna hurt, and it's probably gonna benefit people. Somebody may be able to be very charming and very kind of real and very, very effective in certain things as an actor without a lot of training. They may just have a knack for it and they may get put in a part that really fits them. And, you never know what people can do. I don't think there's any kind of definite rules because people always break rules and, kind of emerge as an unexpected new find as an actor. But I think you can be pretty sure that if you're a young actor, we'll just say young actors for now, because they're, usually the ones starting out, although more mature people also start later in life. But you better be careful what you wish for, because if you want to be on TV, for example, TV or film, and then you get a nice big part with a lot of dialogue and a lot of pace to it, and maybe a lot of energy and size to it, you may be able to do that in the audition when you're doing a self-tape and you have as many takes as you want. And you can, do it at your own pace and put together a good tape. But when you get on set with an experienced, powerful actor, you better be able to do it. Like you're going to find out really fast. It's like the boxer Mike Tyson said, everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face. So, right. So an actor thinks they know what they're doing, and then they get on set and suddenly everything's different. And they're working, with an animal of an actor who's coming at them with pace they didn't expect, or the camera's moving, right? And so they have to get it in one clean take and they can't stop. And there's a lot of different things that can come up. Theater will teach you how to handle that stuff. Theater will
Right.
teach you how to have a strong foundation where you can kind of, stay on your game with all the obstacles going on. It will make you strong, and it'll make you just capable of doing your job under challenging circumstances. So I think for me, it's a great foundation to have, but everybody's got their own trip, right? Everybody's got their own way of doing things. I do think that if people say, I don't want to do theater, I'm always curious, have they ever seen good theater?
Right.
You know, because when you see amazing theater, the power of it, the power of the performances, and the power of the relationship between the audience and the play, I'm not sure I understand why anybody wouldn't want to have that experience. But, you know, going out and doing the same thing over and over and over again for a month or more, some people don't want to do that. But I believe that's where you get strong. Repetition is what builds you up. I do think that to a certain extent, it's like saying to somebody, oh, okay, you want to be an Olympic athlete? All right. How much do you want to train? How much sacrifice are you going to make? How much are you going to change your diet, your physical routine, your sleep schedule, right? How much of your life are you going to give to pursuing this goal? And if people go, well, you know, I can train, like I'll take a, you know, workshop a couple of times a year. I watch movies. Then you go, I don't know. I don't know if you're going to be able to compete with the people who are really, really serious about it. For the most part. Again, some people kind of dance through those raindrops and squeeze through the cracks and end up with some kind of career. But I think a lot of them live in fear of being exposed, that somebody's going to find out they don't really know what they're doing. So, you know, why not prepare yourself to the best of your ability and keep building your muscles for your whole career? I have students at Haven who have been coming to the studio for 20 years. And I can say, you know, I'll say studying with me for 20 years. And there is an element of study and learning and training. Of course, we're always all learning. I learn as much from them as they learn from me, you know, and how they interpret the material, the plays. But after a while, you know, training isn't always about learning, is it? It's about building muscle. And it's just about getting, you know, into the flow of what you do so you don't have to think about it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, can't underestimate the importance of training and building a strong foundation enough, from my personal experience and from seeing the many students I've had who go on to successful careers. They're all the hardest workers. Listen, you can tell, listen, I'm pontificating as an acting teacher because I find this stuff more interesting than talking about myself, right? I find the craft and people's experiences and people's journeys and the struggles and the things that I see year in, year out. I find it really, really interesting, and I'm really passionate about it. And I could go on, but enough already. What else shall we talk about?
Yes, I was just going to say, like, you know, as interested as I am as well in this whole line of questioning, it's good content, I think.
Okay.
So thank you for all that. Let's talk about your newest project.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the title itself is interesting. Have Hope, Yo, and I was
Yeah.
hoping you can kind of give me a bit of a backstory on that.
Well, I came up with that title because about 10 years ago or more, Jen and I, my wife Jen, we were walking on Main Street here in Vancouver. And I saw spray painted on a big billboard, somebody had spray painted, "Have Hope, yo!" exclamation mark. And it just made us smile and it made us feel good. And I took a picture of Jen standing beside it. It's very unusual to see graffiti that affects you that way, right? Usually it's just something you can't even read, or somebody's tag, you know, that has no meaning to anyone other than the person who tagged it. Sometimes, you know, it can be negative statements, sometimes something funny. This one stood out. And so in making this film, which takes place during pandemic times, about a group of people in the pandemic and then coming through it and how that affects them emotionally, Have Hope, Yo seemed like, well, what else can you say these days, right? What else can young people say? Like, you just got to have hope, because everyone's telling you, you know, the planet's burning and the economy's going down the tubes, and who knows when the next pandemic is, and people are so divided in terms of their ideology and the way they live and think, and countries at war all over the world, as there always are, but now we have an increased awareness of it because of social media. So there's a lot for young people to contend with, for all of us. So what can you say? Have hope, yo.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, it's come to my attention that some people think it's a really stupid title. And I have to listen to people. We haven't released the film yet. We're just starting to edit it now. Originally, the project was called Trigger Me. And I just, was looking for phrases from the times we live in. And people talk about getting triggered. Young people use that word a lot, about getting triggered and triggers. And I thought, well, we need to get triggered. It's how we deal with it. If we go through life without getting triggered, then we're in some sort of cocoon and we're not in reality. We're going to get triggered by life, but how do we choose to deal with it? So that seemed important. And then coming back to finish the film, we started it in 2020 and we finished it in 2023. So the characters take a bit of a journey through COVID. I wanted a new title. I wanted a fresh start at it. We hadn't released it, so it was okay. So Have Hope, Yo seemed good. And then some of the young cast members started telling me, nobody says yo anymore, and it's kind of corny. And I thought, really? I hear people say yo all the time. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
But I got to listen to these people because their voices are integral to the story. 100% could never have made this film without listening to the stories of my young cast members and having them share those stories with me. So I got to listen to them. And then somebody said, it's kind of cultural appropriation, saying yo for these characters, these Caucasian kind. I went, oh no, now it's that. Now oh, really? I got to be aware of that. So I thought, well, even if I agree, don't understand, I got to listen. And I got to take these things into consideration, not from a place of fear, just from a place of existing in today's world and understanding it as much as I can, right? Because that's a big part of what the film's about. So I'm trying to do that. The more I think about it, the more I think, do I even like that title? I like sharing the story, Gary. I like saying where I got the title because it was really cool. And I like that, something similar to what I experienced, seeing that name, that phrase written on a wall happens in the film. So I like that part of it. But the truth is, if somebody says to me, what's your new film called? And I say, Have Hope, Yo, I don't know if I feel that great about it. I feel kind of like, I don't know. So I'm ambivalent about the title. We have some other possibilities. I'm listening to people. We got to figure it out really soon because before you know it, we're going to be releasing the film. But what's funny about you asking me the title and me talking this much is because this subject in itself is a huge part of what the film is about, trying to figure out how to live and how to have a voice in today's society where everyone's so afraid to speak their truth because they're going to be judged, or they're emphatic about speaking their truth, but they're not really listening to other people. So my struggle with the title of this film, maybe struggle is an overstatement, my challenges or my journey with titling this film is actually to a large degree what the film is about.
Right. It sounds very, very interesting, and I'm kind of curious. Like you're in post-production now. Do you kind of have a timeline when it might be ready for release, or?
Well, we'd love to get it released for a certain festival before the end of 2023. That might be pushing it. We'll do our best, and if we can't get it done by December 2023. We have to look at the upcoming festival season for 2024. Releasing independent films, in many ways, can be driven by film festivals. So you kind of gear your release towards festivals. If you can get into a decent festival and get some good reviews, maybe win awards, get people talking, then you have a much better of releasing your film on a good streamer, sometimes even theatrically, very, very competitive landscape out there. So you got to find a way to stand out. If you're making films with great actors who aren't yet internationally recognized stars, something's got to make that movie pop. You have, very well-known actors in your film, and you can often sell it just on that merit.
Right.
But there's so many brilliant actors out there who just don't have the international audiences. So you have to find other ways of getting attention for your film.
Yep. No, that's absolutely fair. And speaking of, so
Mhm.
one of the folks you do have on your show is Gabrielle Miller, probably best
Yeah.
known for her corner gas role.
Yeah.
Um, Not the first time you guys have worked together. You guys have actually worked together a few times.
Yeah, I kind of lost count, but Gabe and I have acted together playing sister and brother in a really cool film called Sisters and Brothers by director Carl Basai. I guess that was about 10 years ago. And Gabe was one of the leads in my film from 2013 called Downriver. And we've worked together. I've directed her on a TV show called Robson Arms. We've acted, I can't remember, but a number of times. And Gabe's one of those actors for me. People know her as Lacey on Corner Gas that went on for, they got a lot of big audiences from that show. But that's just one very small part of what Gabe can do as an actor, to play that light, fun comedy. She's got an absolute gift for that, but she's also a great dramatic actor who just really intuitively understands the struggle of being human and the humor that comes with that. So Gabe, I always compare her to Mary Tyler Moore. And I think younger people might not know Mary Tyler Moore, but she's a brilliant actor. She's passed away now, who really opened the doors for women to be likable and lovable and attractive and all those things, but also to have something really impactful to say about being a woman in society. When she was on a sitcom called The Dick Van Dyke Show back in the 60s, she was the first TV woman who didn't just go, yes, dear, no, dear, here's your dinner, dear. Her character had strong opinions about things, but it didn't make her unlikable. It just made you like her even more, right? Because she had a life of her own. Gabe knows how to bring that to her roles. Her characters always have strong opinions that kind of go against the grain, and you see the humor and the sort of truth in that. So I love working with Gabe. I hope we get to continue to do it more in the future, for sure.
The only thing I'll continue to ask about the film itself, you talked about the festivals and things like that. Do you have a game plan after that? Like, do you have networks you're hoping to get it on, like the Netflix or anything like that? Or
Absolutely. Any independent film these days, The Promised Land is a good streamer. That's where most people are going to see it. The two previous features I've made, Moving Malcolm and Downriver, both played in theaters across Canada, in addition to film festivals all over the world. So these days, you want your film to get on Netflix or Amazon, whomever, whoever is going to get the most eyes on it. So our plan is to make the best film we can, finish it properly, get it out to the festivals, and let audiences and critics and, film committees make the decision for themselves about what they think of it. And then to take that momentum and go out to the marketplace and just kind of keep building on the work we did, right? As many people who can see it, better. A good sale means you can get your money back and make it a lot easier to make another film. So yeah, it's like a film feels more successful the more people who see it. It definitely is a great feeling for a filmmaker. You don't want, your relatives and your friends to be the only people who see your film. You want to get it out there to the whole world. So streamers are great for that.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
On that note, I think we'll kind of wrap it up, because you've been more than generous with your time, so I do appreciate that. I want to thank you again for coming on board and saying hi to us and chatting.
My
And
pleasure.
best of luck with the film. Hope that has all the success you're looking for.
Thanks, Gary. And I would just say thank you to my sponsor today, Nespresso, because I've had about 4 espressos, so I'm pretty jacked up. I got a lot of energy right now, so I probably talk your ear off, but coffee's good for that.
Right, that it is. So thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you next time, and have a good rest of your weekend. If you can stick around for a minute, that'd be great.
Okay.
Bye, all.